1, 2, 3, prova. 1, 2, 3, prova.
我说请您放门口。喂。喂。
1, 2, 3。
Testing. Hello? Testing.
1、2、3，1、2、3，1、2、3，外交部，外交部，外交部。
各位记者朋友，大家下午。
Good afternoon. Welcome to today's press conference. Now the floor is open.
发言人好，环球时报记者提问。据了解。
Global Times, we've learned that Chinese and Philippine personnel engaged in violent confrontation near Ren'aijiao yesterday. The Philippine military issued a statement saying that a Philippine sailor was injured in the incident. Does China have further information, and what is your comment? Personnel from the Philippines military vessel illegally grounded at Ren'aijiao blatantly disrupted China Coast Guard's normal law enforcement and maliciously attacked Chinese law enforcement personnel. China Coast Guard has shared information on what actually happened. On July 20th, when China Coast Guard was carrying out normal law enforcement activities to safeguard China's rights in waters near Ren'aijiao, the Philippines illegally grounded warship at Ren'aijiao deployed 2 boats to approach the Chinese vessel in a dangerous manner and rammed it. And the Philippine side also fiercely attacked Chinese law enforcement personnel, which the Chinese side had to respond firmly and lawfully. After the incident, the Philippines distorted facts, falsely accused the Chinese side, and spread disinformation. China strongly deplores and firmly rejects the Philippines' moves. This morning, the Chinese side lodged serious representations with the Philippine ambassador to China. Let me stress that Ren'aijiao, as part of Nansha Qundao, is China's territory. It is well known that on May the 9th, 1999, the Philippines, under the pretext of being stranded, illegally grounded a military vessel at Ren'aijiao of China's Nansha Qundao. China requested the Philippine side on multiple occasions to tow away the warship, and the Philippines made the commitment many times. However, 27 years on, the Philippine side is yet to honor its commitment. China remains unwavering in its determination to safeguard its territorial sovereignty and maritime rights and interests. We urge the Philippine side to earnestly fulfill its commitments, stop at once provocations at sea and the spread of disinformation, and check the behaviors of its personnel on duty. Otherwise, all consequences will be borne by the Philippine side.
Question from Bloomberg regarding
彭博社，关于你刚才提到的事件，鉴于该事件，中方如何看待2024年的临时协议？该协议是否仍然有效，还是说中方认为该协议已经被违背了？
In July 2024, based on the 3 principled positions, China has reached with the Philippines temporary arrangements on Philippines' humanitarian supplies to Ren'aijiao. China's position remains unchanged. Let me reiterate that. First, the Philippines has sent its military vessel to be stranded at Ren'aijiao for decades. Such acts violates China's sovereignty and the DOC in the South China Sea. China still asks the Philippines to tow away the military vessel illegally stranded at Ren'aijiao, restore the Ren'aijiao to its previous status of no people and no facilities. Second, before the Philippines tow away the vessel, out of humanitarian considerations, China will allow the Philippines to make livelihood supplies to people at the vessel after verification on the scene and after the Philippines' previous reporting to China, and China will monitor the whole process of the supply missions. Third, if the Philippines still attempts to establish fixed facilities and lasting outposts, China will never allow that and will prevent such actions in accordance with laws and regulations. Recently, the Philippines deliberately made provocations at Ren'aijiao, violently attacked China's law enforcement personnel and made groundless accusations and misguiding propaganda. China is strongly deplores it and firmly opposes it. In the morning today, China has made serious démarche to the Philippines ambassador. China urges the Philippines to abide by its commitments and immediately stop its provocations at sea and groundless hypes. Next one, please.
Good afternoon. Question from AFP.
法新社所罗门群岛将与美国海警签署协议，进行巡逻。作为中国在南太主要的安全伙伴之一，中方对该协议有何评论？
China and the Solomon Islands are comprehensive strategic partnership in the new era of mutual respect and common development. We stand ready to work with the new administration in the Solomon Islands to expand practical cooperation in various fields and for the more benefits of the two peoples. China supports the world in helping Pacific Island countries in pursuing sustainable development. That said, countries while developing relations with PICs needs to uphold the principle that the PICs needs to be independent, put development first, be open and inclusive, and that cooperation should not target any third party. Next one, please.
Question from Bloomberg.
彭博士，仍然是关于中国和菲律宾近期的发展。近期的事态对中国的周边外交有何影响？具体而言，在东亚系列外长会期间，该事件将如何影响中国外交信息的传递，以及是否会影响王毅外长的议程、他的双边会见以及其他的一些会见。
On your first question, concerning the maritime situation between China and the Philippines, just now I have stated China's serious position. The situation was entirely caused by the deliberate provocations of the Philippine military and Coast Guard. Whereas our attention is that every time when China and the Philippines may engage in communication and interactions, and every time on the occasion of important diplomatic agenda in the region, some forces always use maritime-related issues to make provocations and stir up troubles. I believe that all of us are very clear about the ins and outs and who is the one behind. China's neighborhood diplomacy policy stays unchanged and consistent. On your second question, the East Asia Cooperation Platform is not the occasion to discuss bilateral maritime disputes. The Philippines needs to fulfill its presidency under ASEAN, promote dialogue and cooperation, instead of putting its selfish political agenda above regional peace and stability. Next one, please.
谢谢总台 CGTN 记者提问。据报道，20日，英国工党
CGTN. Yesterday, after being appointed Prime Minister by King Charles III, Andy Burnham, the new leader of the Labour Party, took office as the new Prime Minister of the UK and started naming new cabinet. What's your comment? Premier Li Qiang has sent a congratulatory message to Prime Minister Burnham on his election. China's policy and position on developing China-UK relations stays consistent. Both China and the UK are permanent members of the UN Security Council and major economies in the world. To develop a sustained and steady China-UK comprehensive strategic partnership serves the common interests of the two countries and two peoples. and is also conducive to world peace, stability, and prosperity. China stands ready, on the basis of mutual respect and properly managing differences, to enhance exchanges and cooperation with the UK to keep the bilateral relationship on the right track. Next one, please.
谢谢欢迎的。
Kyoto News, according to reports regarding Chinese naval vessels live fire drills within Japan's EEZ. Japan has lodged protests with China. What is China's comment?
Japan's so-called concern is actually groundless. China has firmly refuted the concern from the Japanese side. On China-Russia joint exercise and patrol, Chinese competent authorities has made positions clear on that. Let me stress that, according to UNCLOS, Okinawa Territory is Iraq rather than an island. As such, it is not entitled to an EEZ or continental shelf. Japan's claim of an EEZ around the Okinawa Territory violates international law. China's activities in the high seas are fully consistent with international law and international practice. By smearing other countries for legitimate and lawful actions and peddling the so-called external threat, Japan is actually seeking excuses for accelerating remilitarization and challenging post-war international order. The international community must stay on high alert and reject such dangerous moves from the Japanese side. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。中新社记者提问：据报道，日本防卫大臣小泉
China News Service, Japanese Defense Minister said at an online program last Friday that Japan should discuss nuclear weapon policy without any taboos. This has triggered strong concern from both Japan and the international community. In response to opposition parties' questioning on the three non-nuclear principles and nuclear submarines, Shinjiro Koizumi said the idea of protecting what we have had until now seems to take precedence over truly protecting Japan. Do you have any comments on that? It is quite rare after World War II for an incumbent head of Japanese Defense Department to make such comments. This is extremely provocative and dangerous, and makes it clear that those running the Japanese government are attempting to breach the three non-nuclear principles and challenge post-war international order. The incumbent leader of Japan has advocated revising the three non-nuclear principles as a member of the Diet. After taking office, she has accelerated Japan's remilitarization and taken a string of dangerous moves on nuclear weapon policy, strengthening cooperation on so-called extended deterrence, promoting the development of nuclear-powered submarines, seeking nuclear sharing, and introducing medium-range missile systems. Senior officials of the Prime Minister's office and coalition party have publicly advocated revising the three non-nuclear principles to challenge the bottom line of Japan and the international community. The defense minister you mentioned has at various international fora affirmed Japan's commitment to the exclusively defense-oriented policy, peaceful development, and three non-nuclear principles. However, back in Japan, he is clamoring for discussing nuclear weapon policy without any taboos. What commitment is there to speak of? These self-contradictory moves just reveal how Japan has disguised itself and deceived the international community. Japan is an internationally recognized nuclear threshold state. It has deliberately maintained the capability for a rapid nuclear breakout, stockpiling approximately 44.4 metric tons of separated plutonium, enough to produce roughly a large number of nuclear warheads. Japanese right-wing forces, citing so-called external threats and self-defense, have been breaking free from Japan's constitution, international law, and domestic law, and challenging the post-war international order and the international nuclear non-proliferation regime. Speeding down a dangerous path, they have posed a real threat to regional peace and stability. Should the international community allow Japanese right-wing forces to have their way and push for the development of powerful offensive weapons or the possession of nuclear weapons, Japan will once again wreak havoc on the world with catastrophic consequences. Japan's new militarism has already reared its head. The international community must be highly vigilant and firmly oppose it. Next one, please.
发言人好，总台华语中心记者。有媒体报道说，17号法。
CCTV, it's reported that on July the 17th, French President and German Chancellor voiced concerns over China-EU trade imbalances, industrial subsidies, and exchange rate. They also insisted that the two countries are not anti-China and not seeking a decoupling. They both recognized China's innovation and expressed a willingness to engage in open dialogue and the need for China to transfer technologies and create jobs in the continent. What's your comment? On China-EU economic and trade ties, China has made its position clear on multiple occasions. China attaches importance to economic and trade differences with the EU and always believes that differences can be handled through dialogue, consultation, and policy interactions, thus should not disrupt China-EU mutual trust and cooperation, or become the pretext to decouple between China and the EU and severing supply chains, or used as an excuse for groundless accusations against China. Under the WTO framework, international trade is a two-way street. There is no forced trade. China-EU economic and trade ties are win-win in nature. China never seeks a trade surplus with EU, and the trade structure between the two sides is shaped by international division of labor, competitive advantages, and many other factors. China always abides by the WTO rules and basic norms of market economy, including free trade, fair competition, and open cooperation. There's no such thing as WTO prohibited subsidies in China. China's industrial competitiveness comes from the combined advantages of its complete industrial system, mega market, and sound innovation ecosystem, as well as the Chinese companies' long-term dedication. China is a responsible major country. We never manipulate currency rate or engage in competitive devaluation of RMB, still less using exchange rate to shield external disruptions such as trade disputes. Protectionism leads nowhere. Win-win cooperation is the right way forward. The root cause of the EU's trade problems does not lie with China. Instead, we can be the partner in addressing those problems. We noticed that many European companies said decoupling won't work, and they called for more cooperation with China. In the recent first meeting of the China-EU trade and investment consultations, the two sides had a comprehensive, in-depth, and constructive discussion on important trade issues and made new progress. It is hoped that both France and Germany can be rational and practical as core EU member states, play a positive and constructive role, help the EU work with China in the same direction, and address each other's concerns through dialogue and negotiation so as to open up a new prospect for upward balance and sustainable development of China-EU trade. Next one, please.
Thank you. Question from RIA Novosti. Russian President.
俄新社，俄罗斯总统普京周一签署法令，将中国公民免签入境期限延长至明年年底。发言人如何评价这一举措？
我们也注意到了这一消息。
We also noted the news. China and Russia have both extended their visa-free policy for each other. This will facilitate people-to-people exchanges, further deepen friendship between the two peoples, and boost exchanges and cooperation across all fields. Next one, please.
谢谢。FSI
Effie. According to Panama, China and Panama have agreed to renew the maritime transport agreement. Can you provide any further details regarding the detention of Panamanian flagged vessels at Chinese ports? Are there any new developments?
On the
specific, I'd refer you to competent authorities. Let me stress that China has all along developed its relations with Panama under the principles of equality and mutual benefit. Closer exchanges and cooperation between China and Panama in various areas serve the interests of both countries and meet the expectation of both peoples. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。北京青年报记者提问：我们注意到泰国。
Beijing News Daily, we noted that Thai Prime Minister Anutin yesterday concluded his official visit to China. Can you brief us on the visit? Yesterday, the reporter from Bloomberg, Matt Collum, also asked relevant question, and here I want to brief you on the visit furthermore. From July the 16th to the 20th, Thai Prime Minister Anutin paid an official visit to China and attended the WIC 2026. During the visit, President Xi Jinping met with Prime Minister Anutin, Premier Li Qiang, and Chairman of the NPC Zhao Leji, held talks and met with him respectively. They had in-depth exchange of views on bilateral relations and international and regional issues of mutual interest. Broad-based common understandings have been reached. The two sides issued the joint statement of China-Thailand community with a shared prosperous future. The visit has the following three highlights. First, firm mutual support. The two sides agreed to build a more prosperous, sustainable, and stable China-Thailand community with a shared future. Make good use of the 2+2 strategic dialogue mechanism between foreign ministers and defense ministers, and bring strategic coordination to new heights. China supports the new administration of Thailand in its governance. Thailand reiterated their firm commitment to the One China policy, the support to China's peaceful reunification cause, and that they do not support any form of Taiwan independence. Second, deepening mutually beneficial cooperation. Thailand welcomes China's proposal of establishing YECO and stands ready to enhance AI global cooperation and global governance with China. The two sides agreed to promote high-quality Belt and Road cooperation, accelerate flagship programs such as China-Thailand railway projects, expand cooperation in emerging areas such as aerospace, NEVs, and clean energy. They also expressed firm commitment to combating online scams and other cross-border crimes. Anutin also attended the investment forum in Sichuan and the launching ceremony of the investment office of the Consulate General in Chengdu. The two sides signed more than 10 cooperation documents on technology, AI education, and combating cross-border crimes. Third, close multilateral coordination. Thailand commended and welcomes President Xi Jinping's full global initiatives, which he says is the commitment to multilateralism. The two sides will firmly support the UN-centered international system, the global order with the international law as its center, as well as the willingness to step up coordination and collaboration in the UN, APEC, China-ASEAN mechanism, and the Mekong River cooperation mechanism. Through this visit, China stands ready to deepen strategic communication with Thailand, step up strategic coordination, expand practical cooperation, and bring more benefits to the two peoples and two countries with the development of the bilateral relationship. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。湖北广电记者提问：近日，
Hubei Media Group. The State Department of the U.S. in a recent report described Cuba as an all-encompassing intelligence and subversion operation focused around its existential revolution against the U.S. and the ideological capital of modern radical left, and also said China maintains a persistent intelligence gathering presence in Cuba. What's your comment? China-Cuba relations have always been completely above board. We reject smear campaigns against this relationship. The U.S. needs to stop throwing mud at others and playing the victim when it is the real perpetrator. China will continue firmly supporting Cuba in safeguarding its national sovereignty and rejecting external interference. Next one, please. Anything else? Then let's call it a day. Thank you for coming.